in my game face. Ain't no stopping me, you know I'm coming in first place. Won't stop it till I get that ring. I'ma dominate all day. No matter who you bring, I will not lose.
Yeah.
I will not lose.
I will not lose. Yo, what up? It's your boy Owen Cjgj Stone, aka Black Gritty. Welcome to another episode of Gritty Nights. Make sure you follow the show on YouTube if you want to be here live and you want to get past an hour. I know a lot of you guys check in on IG and Twitter, but it cuts off after an hour and then you miss all of the goodness that goes on in the world. But I hope you didn't miss last night. I hope you turned on your televisions. I hope that you watched greatness happen. I hope that you saw Joel Embiid put up 70 points against the Spurs, against Wembanyama, and he just did what Wilt does. Now I got my buddy Jason with me, and my boy Harry's gonna be coming in. But one thing I can tell you that they had to listen to me talk about for forever is Wilt Chamberlain, because I got uncles and my dad, and when I talk about the GOAT and people talk about Jordan or LeBron or whatever, my dad talks about Wilt Chamberlain and all the stuff he had to go through, all the stuff he could do. Apparently, Wilt Chamberlain had wings, a jetpack, went to the moon, discovered the earth and the universe, and could do all things. And I believe it, because every time until recently, when stats would come out, I made a video about it. When Jordan would do something great, it would be since 1978 or since 1979. And I'm like, why does it always do that? And it was because they just didn't want to involve Wilt Chamberlain's numbers because they were so gaudy, so unattainable, and so unreal. But now they're pulling out the black and white pictures and they're bringing them in to let everybody know that somebody is outdoing or dueling with or competing with Wilt Chamberlain. It is Joel Embiid. And I said again, if you are not watching these games, you're missing greatness. The dude is casually putting up 50 on a consistent basis and sitting in fourth quarters. And last night, he went out there and put up a 70 piece on the people. Let me bring on my boy. Say what's up to the people, Jason.
What's going on? Long time no see here. You know, follow me, IQMZ Sports.
You've had to deal with me talk about Wilt Chamberlain a lot.
Oh yeah, since we were youngsters in middle school. So I've been hearing about Wilt Chamberlain like I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but you know, like I said, it's not even about me. I had to suffer, so others have to suffer.
You had to spread the word.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how that goes, as far as I'm concerned. Did you get to watch the game last night? Were you running around the world doing
I was
things?
running around with the kids, and then I get a text message like, Joel, 65. And I'm like, what? So I quick check my phone, and I'm like, 65? What the hell are they talking about? Did I see it? Immediately grabbed the controller to the TV, flipped the channel, and just watched the end of that greatness. It was just something to behold.
It was impeccable. We could watch it again. I got it on tape, but I never letting it go. Harry.
Yo.
Don't mind the back of my office, everybody. That's messy. I'm trying this new vertical layout, and so don't mind the back of it, because the movie magic is on my side, where you don't see that I got stuff just sitting on the couch hanging out over there on the floor. You know what I mean? There might be gold bars and diamond rings. Harry, you been out partying with the people. Did you see Joel last night?
Yes, sir. I was with some friends and just caught the whole game. Incredible performance. I mean, I was excited to watch him. You know, my voice is a little bit gone because of it too. I mean, we were all jumping up and down cheering, and just the idea of the new kid on the block in terms of Wemby going up against Joel was already making me excited for the game going into it. And then just to watch him, to have Wemby, go for 33 or whatever he did, and have that not even be half of what Joel got, is just like an incredible performance. And I really want to look at the game again, because it was just something super special to see. And I was really excited to get to watch the whole game.
So one of the first comments I got on IG, which I can't put on the screen, the IG comments aren't connected, but if you're on YouTube or Twitter, the comments will come through. Just need to stay healthy and be 100% for the playoffs. I don't even want to talk about playoffs. I just want to enjoy today.
Enjoy. Exactly.
So today I made my video about just enjoy greatness, and the first comment was blah, 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 second round. And I'm like, I know they need to get out of second round. He's like, well, you made a whole video saying don't be. I was like, I'm making the point of don't hate on it. Just enjoy it. We all know they got to get to the second round. And this person went and said, well, you were really hard on him in your video last year in the play. Like, yes, because I'm in the moment. When he sucks in the playoffs and falls away, I don't care about a 70-point game. I care about the game 7 that you didn't show up for. But a year removed from that, when you put up 70, I enjoy the 70. Like, I know the playoffs are coming. I know the second round's coming. I know injuries are coming. I don't care I'm watching a guy do, and Harry, you can confirm this too. Every time you talk about Jordan and me and you argue about Jordan LeBron, what's the next thing I say? What's the next level?
What do you mean? Will, yeah, exactly.
Every time you come saying numbers to me, I'm like, well, Wilt, I just start throwing Wilt numbers at you.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out black and white videos, VHS. You know what I mean? I got a Betamax I'm trying to show Harry. Like, I don't hear about Jordan. Shut up. So, the fact that Joel is literally on multiple levels doing stuff that Wilt didn't do or has done and having streaks with him and comparisons with him, better games than him, it's just incredible. Because, again, in 30 years, people are going to sound like me. My daughter's going to be going around talking about Joel Embiid did 55, 10, and 18, and 32. So
me too.
And enjoy this Wilt moment. Joel Wilt Embiid is doing it, and I just want people to appreciate it.
And you're talking about just appreciating it. I mean, it's like literally every single possession that he has the ball, it's just something beautiful at this point. Like, he's unlocked another level of understanding of the game where he's just seeing it and doing what he wants, whether it's passing to his teammates or just, we saw that he's just moseying up the court, doing a couple behind the backs, full court, basically bringing the ball up, and does that ridiculous behind the back door to Kelly Oubre for the and one on Wemby. I mean, that was just ridiculous. And then there's one play that was in the first half. I mean, he just was posting up on Zach Collins. That's the play that he got him, tucked Zach Collins' arm and got him for an and one. But he just read the way they were passing the ball at the top of the key to even seal him down low to do that. I mean, again, just appreciate every single play you're watching. We'll worry about the playoffs when they happen. I feel like, like you said in the comments in the chat, people are saying just stay healthy. That's all it takes at this point. I don't even know if we need anything else really as a team if Joel is playing this well. So it's super exciting, and it is Wilt-esque, not even Jordan-esque, which is crazy.
So also for the people, if you want to get in on the show, text your name and what you want to talk about to this number, and we will call you and bring you on, and you can talk and tell us what you think about the topics we're going through today. Jason, what is the biggest difference in this season for Joel Embiid that people like to talk about and complain about? What do you see as the big difference and why we should have a little bit of hope for the playoffs?
Well, Glenn is gone. Ding dong, Glenn is gone. That's all. That's the biggest difference in the entire thing. And now Glenn might be showing up in Milwaukee out of nowhere. The Bucks to the second round exit. But clearly Embiid and the whole team are playing a different style of basketball now that suits Embiid perfectly. They run everything through him as they should. The spacing's corrected. There's no more clogging up the lane with guys that can't shoot and guys that are just dogs on the court and whatever that nonsense is that we tried to do before to get tough on the court. But now Embiid has space to cook. That's what he needs.
And we're going to talk about it, but this is the first time Joel Embiid's had a real coach. This is the first time since college. No offense to Glenn or Doc Rivers. He's not my coach. I might call him Doc. I can show him that little courtesy. No offense to him, but Doc has never been for or about or developing young players. Even when he was in LA and he had the young guys out there, he just wasn't good at developing them. So Maxey growing up and getting to play with Harden, it did help him a little bit because Maxey's just the kind of guy who tries to learn from everybody and use all the tools to his toolbox. But now with Nick Nurse, a guy who has developed all kinds of players out of Toronto, and yes, they went and won their championship when they got Kawhi, but all those guys have now moved on, and they're all household names. They all got big contracts, and that was due to the growth and the development under Nick Nurse. So him being here and the way that they're playing the games, we don't lose leads in the third quarter. Joel Embiid would go out all the time and help us be up by 15 or 20 points. We come back after halftime, the lead's gone like that. Now they come back after halftime, increase on the lead, and then he gets to sit in the beginning or the middle of the fourth quarter now. You know what I mean? Unless the game's close or tight. I mean, they're not winning every game, but there's multiple games where he's available to do this, which leads to health and going forward. Everybody's talking about him being healthy for the playoffs. Yes, we want that too, but this style of play, this coaching, this development, and if Morey makes a little bit of a move here before the deadline, these are the things that are getting us where we want to be. Anything else guys want to say about this before I
I just love Jason's point about Doc. I mean, that's getting rid of Doc and you're adding Nick Nurse. That's just an incredible transition. And if Doc does go to the Bucks, like we're seeing, he's the front runner potentially. I mean, it would have to be an 08 Celtics situation. You know what I mean? Carrying him to a championship, because he's not gonna add anything to that team. So
yeah, let's talk about that next real quick because it's not in order. But so the Bucks have gotten rid of Griffin, and
Right.
it's basically just a vibe thing.
Mhm.
Now it's funny because a lot of everybody reporting, well, the players know when a coach isn't giving them what they need. Well, you could see that Glenn wasn't giving the Sixers what they need. They wouldn't get rid of him, and they were begrudgingly trying to get rid of him until they had the Harden fiasco. And if Harden would have demanded a trade, we'd probably still be stuck with Glenn Rivers as the coach. If Harden didn't say, look, I can't play for this guy, then whatever, I'd still be stuck with him. So it's funny to me that they're 30-13 winning games, and I guess they expected to be what, undefeated because they got Dame Lillard, or
Right.
they're losing games closely. Like what did they really expect to happen that they have to get rid of this guy besides just vibes? Like, oh, we know a winning coach when we see one. Do you? Because you ran your guy who won you a championship out, right?
Coach Bud.
Yeah, got him a championship.
Yep.
Eerily similar of a situation we're going to talk about for ourselves later. But I mean, what do you think about the coaching situation there and Glenn taking that spot, Jason?
Well, did you see that Doc has been consulting for Griffin basically on the side? Like he's been advising him, I guess would be the way that you want to say it, and then basically stabs him in the back to get that job.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I heard a little bit about it.
Like, that's insane.
I was letting somebody else. I didn't want to snitch on the guy, but I was
As far as Griffin, now that's a team. They add Dame, right? They have no backcourt defense right now. They can't cover any guards that are fast. Maxey kills them constantly. Griffin finally got Giannis to buy him the shooting outside the paint a little bit, and he was starting to come through, and develop in that little part of his game. And then all of a sudden they just fire him with that winning record. It's a wild story.
30-13,
right?
And that's the thing that cracked me up, because everybody's dancing around the fact that Glenn stole his job, because they're saying, oh, well, Doc doesn't leave a job without having another job lined up. And if you thought he was going to be an announcer full time, I'm like, that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Slow playing a role just to try and undermine a guy is just outlandish to me.
How about Doc couldn't even make the finals as an announcer this year?
So that's terrible. It's funny though. Harry, what do you think about that situation?
I mean, like we're talking about, I saw reports saying the vibes of he lost the vibes of the locker room slowly throughout the year, and that's why he's gone. And is it really because of the fact that they weren't, like you said, undefeated essentially, because they're second in the East right now, seem to be figuring that more and more. Giannis seemed to be figuring out more and more, as Jason's talking about, and Dame. I mean, he's had some really big games, shown sign game winners, signs of what we know he is as a player. So. It's a weird situation. I think they're being impatient probably, and at the end of the day, to have a newer coach, who potentially could grow into being an even better coach over a little bit of time with the team, throughout the entire season and getting into the playoffs, and then you're bringing in Doc, or Glenn, I'll start saying that too, where he's literally, the track record of choking is just incredible at this point, and then they're bringing him in, and to think that he's going to add some sort of adjustments like during the games that we talk about, he's the opposite of Nick Nurse in terms of the in-game adjustments. So what is he going to do during the games? Maybe they just want the rah like kind of just, I don't even know, preaching that he's going to do it in practice, but during the games he's not going to do anything for them. So I think it's a mistake.
It's so good for us, and I don't even care about the situation.
Joking is just incredible at this point, and then they're bringing him in, and to think that he's going to add some.
So that was my fault. Click the extra button.
I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
I thought I blacked out.
I was making hey, KD is the GOAT, guys. I don't know if you heard. Kevin Durant is the greatest player of all time in the NBA. Jason, is that right?
Well, I mean, he should think he's the greatest player of all time. He should play with that confidence. It's an insane take, but he should still feel that way inside. He's one of the top 5 scorers of all time.
Hold on a second. I've been lucky enough to lay down with a few ladies in my lifetime. And I mean, I do a good job. I overperform because of my size. I got to put in extra work to make sure that somebody's happy. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I'm just saying, I put in a lot of effort. I have been praised for my compliments and my ability of being a bigger guy. And never once did I walk out of any room thinking I was the GOAT? I've been with a couple of low-level models, and I still never thought that I was the GOAT. I thought I was great. I thought I was happy to be here. I'm good being in the league. I'm putting up points. I mean, I'm doing my part. You know what I mean? I got a couple rings. You know what I'm saying? But I never once left the room thinking I was good. I'm sorry. Go ahead and the KD needs to believe and think that he is the good. He got to be
crazy like that, man. To keep playing like that at that age and keep switching teams and being terrible at it. Right, but no, he's not the GOAT. He won only in Golden State when he joined the best team ever. He joined there, he won, he got out of there, he's never come close again. That's it. It's a silly discussion to really have because he's just not. He's probably in the top 15.
Yeah, I put him somewhere in the top 15. Harry, what do you think about GOAT KD?
I mean, I feel like this is potentially coming off of the heels of kind of these younger guys coming in the league saying things like, Paul George is the GOAT and things like that. I think Kevin Durant might be just playing into the social media era that we're living in and kind of like planting that seed so that bite is out there just forever now. So in terms of you Google search, the right terms and GOAT, it's just going to come up, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So I think that's like part of what's going on, the mind game or the internet game, I guess, ultimately that he's playing. But no, he's not the GOAT. And, again, year 17, LeBron, incredible year 21, but KD kind of gets overlooked because of LeBron's longevity in terms of his longevity with it, coming back from the Achilles and the injuries he's come back from. It's incredible. And again, we should appreciate how great he has been. And the other night, again, at Joel's 70-point game, KD's hitting the double clutch, game winner over Caruso to win that game. So I want to appreciate his greatness, but he's just saying things to, again, get that fight out there for the future, for those kids that are going to Google it one day. So I don't agree at all.
Your point about bringing up Paul George and that guy, the player that said he's my GOAT,
Brandon Miller,
yeah,
right?
and that kind of stuff I understand. Maybe you signed your shoe as a kid, and you're like, man, he is the greatest alive. I saw the dude with 23 Pat Beverly shirts on, and I know he thinks that Pat Bev is the GOAT. Those kind of conversations I get from fandom. Like you look at somebody, you're like, hey, Hulk Hogan's my guy. I get it. You know what I mean? I was a Randy Savage, but I get what you're saying. But for KD to stay out loud, I deserve to be in the conversation. You know what his real problem is?
Insecure.
No, well, that's a huge problem. He's a cupcake. We always know that. His biggest issue and why he's saying it now is because this year is the first year watching Wardell Curry, and people are starting to put him in the top 10. People are asking if he's top 6 or 7, saying if he's like after the Magic Kareem, if he's obviously reached the top 10. He got that one championship without KD, and he got another championship without KD. The last championship is the first championship I feel like he contributed on the group project and earned a championship. The first 3, I mean, you don't win MVP, finals MVP in any of them, and you shrink and your numbers are terrible in the finals.
Come on. He should have been MVP.
Probably the first one.
All leading up to the finals, his numbers were crazy. He gets
definitely worse.
Finals,
definitely worse.
His numbers are not great. And so I'm just saying, and if anybody should got that MVP, finals MVP, it should have been LeBron James.
Not it would.
He's scoring 90, 30, and 60.
And they gotta shut him down.
Yo, they're like, you held LeBron to 40, 20, and 8. You get MVP. Yeah, good job. So that was a bizarre thing, but it's something I can just use against him. But what I'm saying is that he's finally entered the fray of top 10. Or is he top 5? Nobody's trying to make him the GOAT, but he has entered that conversation. And guess what, KD? He's got 4. You have 2, right. And you got 2 on his team, and you got called a bitch, and you left, and you've done absolutely nothing since but complain and bounce around, not going anywhere. So all the time when you blamed Westbrook,
I mean, that was right.
No.
Yeah, I think Westbrook was a problem. So.
Hey, also, you know what Durant is the GOAT of?
What?
Responding to Joel's 70-point game.
Yes, that was an incredible clip.
Oh, I skipped over that. I forgot about that. So, Joel is the biggest bitch in America. Go ahead and clip that, because this dude is a troll. He don't care about nobody. He don't care about your feelings. I mean, you walk over, you bleeding out in the street if you have a Joel jersey on. He does not care about anybody. He looked up that board and said, "Oh, Karl Anthony Towns is trying to do something big on Kobe Day."
Yeah, wrong.
Hold my beer. and he did it without because people were reporting they snitch. There was no report of, hey, I've got to do this because I see Cat's got 50. But I heard the report of they're looking up there and they're feeding Cat the ball to jack up threes
because
they see. Benched? right?
He was shooting them out of the game. He was shooting out of the game in the fourth quarter. He was 2 of 10 or 2 of 8 or something to like in a stretch, and they were coming. They lost the game. I mean, because of his lack of closing. His great night, which ended up being a weird night, honestly.
62 points with 10 threes made. And again, he started jacking up shots late. They lost the game. He didn't contribute. But again, that's crazy to me that mid-game they're feeding him the ball like, yo, Joel's got 60, you've got 58, you can catch him. And then you just start jacking up shots. And I'm like, wow. Wow. I know it's a regular season game, but that's still insane to me. So Joel went to bed last night smiling, and Kat just kept scrolling like, but I scored 62. And there's not one picture. He's not holding up no paper. You know what I mean? His paper said I did good too. That's what his homework.
Right? Just
right benched on his bench.
Like, benched in the fourth quarter.
Joel be trolling people even when he don't mean to. That's
how you gonna score 60 and you're not clutch at the end of the game? That's insane. Like, and
Joel scored 70. Going 1 of 2 from 3.
Yep.
21 of 23 from free throws. And for anybody who complains, he's a hacker, he gets all the free throws. I'm like, Shaquille O'Neal would have scored 90 points a game if he could just make free throws. But he couldn't, because big guys get hit. That's what happens when you're big and you're dominant. You get slapped up, you get smacked up. Dudes rotate guys in and out to try and wear you down.
Only people say that about Embiid, though. Everyone else that's ever scored 70 also got a ton of foul shots. That's how you score 70 points in a game. Yeah, like that's how it works.
Yep.
Yeah.
My favorite, or took a bunch of threes.
Somebody commented today to me, they're like, yeah, well, he went up against a rookie Wembanyama. It's like he went up against Shaq or anybody in their prime. And I'm like, who did Kobe score 81 against? I don't remember.
Jalen Rose.
Who did Devin Booker score 70 points
Raptors.
against? I don't know. Yeah. Who did Jordan score his 68 against or whatever? I don't know. It was Michael Jordan. Right. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter.
Allen Iverson had 54. I don't know, but I remember watching it. He was scoring on everybody.
That's 9 times guys have had 70 points, right?
9 times.
Historically, so it doesn't matter who you play. There's been bad teams forever. Guys don't score 70 points. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Second time that someone's had that level of complete stat line, not even Wilt. Him and Jordan had it. Jordan had like I think it was either 64 or something like that. He had
18 and 6.
Yeah, there you go. With the assist is what got him into that realm of just them two doing it, because Wilt, for all his wisdom and power, he didn't have that many assists until he wanted to, and then he led the league and averaged 25 assists a game. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, I mean, like I said, don't check out some of these stats. Dude was like 50, 25, and 25 one year because they're like, yeah, but you don't pass the ball. He's like, oh, okay,
I'll pass.
And then just started dishing out 25 assists for a year. Anyway, I digress. Joel Embiid is great, and all Joel's got to do, honestly, is win one championship, and he'll be the greatest center in Philadelphia history. He'll be one of the greatest centers of all time. And I hope and I wish that for him. If he even gets to a finals, he'll be put up in that upper echelon like we treat Allen Iverson here in the city. Shoot, we treat Charles Barkley like that, and he never got us nowhere. He bounced on us and went and got his championship run in Phoenix.
And we were like, yeah, I understand why.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate you tapping in, Steve. But yeah, Joel Embiid, man. Karl Anthony Towns, get out of here with that Fugazi stuff. It's embarrassing from you. KD is not the GOAT. So just one brief thing I want to talk about hockey real quick. Again, I'm talking about greatness. Now, it's baby greatness. And I tell you, I didn't like the fact that the Flyers came out and they had dog masks and a whole new era orange, and we're doing things differently. They get a new coach, shout out to Jonesy, new management, new upper management. Everything changed. And lo and behold, the dog mask thing's working. The team looks fun. They're looking like they're having fun. I'm watching all the press conferences, all the interviews, all the after game stuff with the little dog mask and the chain. And these white guys are out here thugging and bugging, and I like it. I appreciate a little bit of bully back in my Philadelphia Flyers. They're fun to watch. I have no expectations. I have no hope. I have no dreams, but I'm starting to have them every once in a while when I watch the game. Jason went out and sat front row on the front of the ice.
Second row?
So I was front row. But the pictures I'm seeing, like I said, see, that's what I'm saying when I say I've been with lower tier models. They're still models. You was up front. I don't have but I saw your steam on the glass in the picture. And it's just, they're fun to watch, especially with no expectations, but they're playing well. They're having fun. It seems like a good core guys. And the first thing everybody started talking about was trade Carter Hart. This is before we even had the trade for Driscoll or Drysdale. Excuse me, I said Driscoll. And I'm like, you know how long I waited to get a goalie? Now we got 2. Hold on to him. But today he is taking off for some personal time.
It's not good.
It's not good. So I don't know why you need a sabbatical to go away from the team. Again, it's for personal reasons. Anything can happen. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I don't like it because I wanted to keep him. But now everybody who wanted to trade him is going to have real justification to trade him because we do need a piece. We do want a piece. I'm scared that if we trade him for something somewhat substantial, because he is good, he's not great, then the expectations are going to go through the roof for this team for real, and the pressure comes on. And I feel like we're already ahead of schedule. Can't we just ride this wave? Anybody got anything to say about that?
I mean, I think we're building a culture at the end of the day that can maybe withstand what's going on. I mean, the trade for Drysdale, I mean, that whole situation, I think was handled extremely, just mature, but also kind of like standing on what you believe in as an organization, right? So
standing on business.
Exactly. So I mean, and Tortorella, we thought, when originally hiring him, that was like, man, maybe we got this guy too early, right? Maybe we're winning too many games. We should be really tanking and making sure we're getting the highest picks possible, but we're winning more than we should. And now this year, again, the culture is looking great with management and with the coaching staff. So I feel like we're in a position where if we keep him somehow and can have that good situation with 2 good goalies, that's great, and maybe we'll work it out because our culture is being built in a way that can withstand that, or we get rid of them and get a piece. And again, our culture is ready for the pressure, maybe before we thought it would be. But I think we're, building something for the long run that like is looking good to me. I'm not really too worried about the situation. So,
Jason,
so do you guys know the Carter Hart backstory issue thing that could possibly be leading to him taking this little sabbatical?
I'm waiting for you to tell us.
No, yeah.
He played for the Canadian junior national team in 2018, and there's allegations of sexual assault on a young lady that they're still investigating, and the report is due to come out in the next couple of weeks as to what the findings were. And now, out of nowhere, Hart takes this break, which could be related. Hopefully, it's not related because that would be awful. But timing wise, it's not great.
So I had heard about that. I thought that was settled. Actually,
they reopened that investigation. And then the report is coming out now. So, and they got all the players this time. They were kind of forced to cooperate.
Okay. So, yeah. All right.
And that's all speculation on that too.
Oh,
so that's
definitely speculation. Fully understand that. But I was just like, my golly gee, I thought, somebody just sent in a text. Carter Hart might be in some trouble. Yeah, see, they know. They know. But okay. If that's the case, okay, let me just say this and we're going to move on because Gritty Nights, I can only do so much hockey. I don't know how much hockey I'm allowed to do. But then we should have traded him if they knew it was about to get reopened. And when they did the whole, he doesn't want to play in Philly, they kept it quiet. You should have dished my boy out of town and made a move before this finding comes out. That's what should have happened then, if that's the case. Allegedly. Yep. We're all talking allegedly.
Right. Hopefully it's nothing, right?
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing. There's a thing called the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. I don't know if you heard of the team.
Never heard of them.
But
forgot about that.
Yeah. Joel came and took all the pain away. Dancing cares away. Worries for another day. And now we're back on it. So the Eagles have fired the DC officially. Right?
The one that they already fired.
Yeah.
But then they fired him again for real this time.
Yeah. And then Patricia was only under a 1-year contract. So we fired him.
He's going to go find another job. He's looking else.
He's looking around.
Fired him. What I need him to do is drop the ebook on how he lost all that weight. My boy looking slim, pencil boy. I give you a little bit of taste of a compliment. He dropped a lot of weight. I don't know how he did that in Philly, so I'm trying to figure out what kind of moves he's making. But now our offense coordinator, is he officially gone or is it?
It's just, I think they just said they're rumored not bringing them back, right?
So we're still rumors, so I'm not going to say official, but it feels like it's about to be happening.
Well, I know they were waiting, hoping he would get one of those head coaching jobs because then they get the draft pick compensation for it. So they didn't want to really undercut him and have him lose that chance to get a head coaching job. But I think once Carolina pulled out an interview on him the other day, that they're kind of realizing he's not getting a head coaching job.
And so the thing about that is there's also a report about Nick Sirianni having an issue with someone else coming in with a different style and philosophy of offense and relinquishing power to them. And so it's like, well, do you keep Johnson because Nick's not going to work with somebody else? Well, Nick, everything you were doing last year that you said was your offense
Didn't work.
And to be fair, they were top 7 in every average stat overall. But in the last 6 games, you were dead last in every offensive stat. So for almost that's crazy that you were so good for the first 10 games that it carried you to 7th overall in most offensive stats. But in those last 8 games, you were like 31st, 30th, 28th, and a lot of things. So Nick not being one to let go of power. What are your thoughts on that, Harry? Let's start with you.
I mean, my biggest wish, honestly, for the, again, we talked about this before, we're in a situation where bringing in someone that could be maybe an elite kind of, vibes guy and offensive mind, that like kind of a Steichen situation that undermines Nick. This makes it kind of a lame duck year, right? We talked about that. So it's like, what could be the best situation for us? And I think it would be bringing in, again, I don't have anyone off the top of my head, but one of Mike McDaniel or Shanahan's assistants, some of those guys that are not the OCs, that are not going to be, that guy that's next line for a head coaching job, but these people that are definitely innovative and kind of under these innovative guys that we know in the NFL, who's not necessarily going to undermine Nick because they're young enough or green enough. But, ultimately, I mean, if Nick's just going to kind of hold them to a certain standard of offense that is just not been working, not allow them to be creative and think outside the box, and with our ridiculous talent, which is the only reason that we ended up being 7th anyway, was because of that start with the talent that we had. I mean, again, this is why we talked about Nick not coming back, right? Because I just don't see how that's going to work.
Now we're stuck with that. It seems like Nick's coming back.
Right.
Jason, if you could have any offensive coordinator you want, who would you want?
Bieniemy, because he's going to come here and hold everybody to a disciplined standard and make them execute the right way. That's why the people in Washington didn't like it. It's no more of these soft practices that Sirianni runs and lets guys be friendly with them and everybody's cool with them and all that. It's time to be disciplined and execute things the way they need to be done.
So I will tell you this, fun inside baseball. I did a little research today. I want Bieniemy too, and for 2 reasons. One, because he deserves better in life. First, for that is when he was out there after Doug left and he stepped in as offensive coordinator, the difference between him and Doug is I know he has an offensive mind. I know he wasn't just coaching in high school the previous year and just holding a clipboard. I know that he was helping design plays because Andy really wanted him to get a head coaching job. So he put more on his plate. He gave him more responsibility. And under that responsibility, Patrick Mahomes got even better. The offense got even better. Their overall offensive output and performance and all the stats I can give you, they were in the top 4 to 7 under Bieniemy. The first year Bieniemy's gone, they've dropped down to overall 24th. And I'm like, okay, like all the struggles we've seen with them, and people say, oh, it was the wide receivers are green. They had trash wide receivers last year and beat us in the Super Bowl. Correct. Don't tell me that Juju Smith-Schuster is some kind of wizard amaze man that he's going to be doing all this stuff. When he comes to Washington, they started off the season really hot.
Howe was leading the league in passing for most of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the wide receivers are playing great. Then what happens to everybody? They end up having a couple of injuries. The guy got exposed, but he took them from almost dead last in offensive performance and took them up to 22nd, 21st before they went on that last end of the run. So he automatically upgraded their offense. And the Chiefs offense was running at such a high clip with him there. And I feel like it's because Andy can be Andy, but he could have him be that pit bull in the room.
Exactly.
Getting everybody in line and making everybody responsible. So I would love Eric Bieniemy here, and I would love Ron Rivera here. What do you think about defense?
So I guess in that situation we're deciding that Nick is going to be like just a figurehead sort of situation, because those are 2 alphas that, again, I'm into it too. I'm into it as well, but I feel like that's almost guaranteeing that Nick is gone after this year. I mean, I guess not. Or if we win the Super Bowl, let's say in that situation, then we still keep the situation with these 2 guys who are maybe the true leaders that Nick is not. It's an interesting situation. I mean, if we get a Super Bowl out of it, that's great. But ultimately, I feel like it's going to end with Nick getting fired again if we don't make it that far, right?
So real quick before Jason says something, when Doug was here, he had Schwartz, a guy who was a head coach who knew what he was doing, who could be Doug's friend and be a confidant in the room. And so I feel like Ron would be that because he's been a coordinator before. He's survived cancer. He's gone through a lot of stuff. Maybe he wants to take a step back and not have the stress. I know he wasn't giving up free money, but I'd like to have Ron. So what do you think, Jason?
I can't really put my finger on what type of defense Rivera runs. I know his D lines have always been good, so that plays into the Eagles' strength. but I can't remember if he's more of a passive coordinator or a blitzing type guy. Because you have all the extremes out there. You have the Wink Martindale, blitz everybody to hell that all Eagles fans really deep down wish we could do at all times for some reason. Or we could, stick with the Fangio style defense, which I personally hate.
Yep.
Because I'm tired of that passive coverage, giving up stuff like that bend don't break style. But I think Nick has a year left no matter what, to be honest. Like you said, Harry, they'd have to win a Super Bowl for Nick to be around. He's the scapegoat next year when everything doesn't work out.
Also, shout out to white chocolate that Ron Rivera had back at Panthers. What was that? What was the linebacker's name?
Oh, Luke Kuechly.
I know he know linebacker. That's all I know.
We got nothing like that on this roster. Not even a semblance of a Luke Kuechly.
If he can find me a little baby Kuechly, you know what I mean?
Everybody wants one of those.
Drop for try, you know what I mean? Drop for try. Hey, look, you got to know something. You find a white boy anymore that's a linebacker.
White Patrick Willis, essentially. I mean,
they don't make too many white chocolate out there at linebacker anymore. But I mean, so I don't really know what I feel like his style of defense, because I was looking at highlights and stuff from when they went to the Super Bowl in those years in the run. The defense was also very good, and because the offense ran through Cam. Cam did everything. He was Superman. They had no weapons, but their defense was stacked up. They had Peppers on the line. Like they had cornerbacks. Like their defense was really good. So he had his defense performing very well at a high level, and I feel like if he was our D coordinator, that would be really good for us.
My only worry with him is he hasn't been a D coordinator in such a long time, and that the game could possibly have evolved so much from how he would call a game defensively.
I would almost take the personnel situation if he could get us, somebody, because again, Howie, that kills two birds with one stone in some sense. You get a true like alpha kind of leader, with empathy and compassion in the room on the team to kind of help with the defense in that sense, but also potentially recruit some talent that Howie's not seeing. So you're right, though. I definitely don't know if the scheme is going to be something that's too innovative or too kind of like on point. But again, I think that roster at the end of the day and vibes can take us a long way, as we see with a lot of situations.
So I will tell you another thing too that cracked me up before we move on to the divisional round. Everybody knows I call the radio all the time, listen to radio all the time, and
that's you.
Yeah. So I heard a guy call in, and he was like, "Why can't the Eagles be like the Lions?" And I almost drove my car off the cliff, because one, it's not a crazy thing to say at this moment, this exact moment in time.
Right. But
they got rid of the leading touchdown running back and another running back who was just an absolute weapon for them in the passing game. They got rid of both of them and then replaced them in the draft. And it looks like an ingenious move by them. Their defense, they picked up, Cjgj, which we all know about, and he was out for most of the season, but they got Hitchens. They just seem like a well-built team. They got wide receivers. I'm not saying Brown, he's great. He's their number one. But it seems like every other wide receiver is out here catching and blowing people off the line everywhere you look. Like, I'm like, who is that guy? Their tight end goes down. Another one pops up, and that tight end was a rookie tight end. So they've done an excellent job once they fired Miller, that trash panda, lifelong, having a GM job, sucky trash, evil, horrible man who took Detroit down for forever.
That was so long ago.
Yeah. I hate that man because he made Megatron retire. Like, how you let Megatron retire? Because you suck at your job and you're a horrible person. I wish you well in life. I don't want you dead or anything, but you're just a trash GM. Right. And now the Lions are out here doing and making moves, boy. And when he said it, I was like, sick to my stomach, like, that's dumb. And then I kept driving and thinking, and I was like, I kind of want to be the Lions right now.
Their draft picks play and they contribute. That's really the big moves that they make, is they've hit most of their draft picks the past 2 years, and they were made fun of for their drafts. They got low grades for their draft this year for drafting a running back and a middle linebacker early.
Everybody laughed at him, and now everybody's like, oh, look at the Lions. Now they're going to get boot stomped by the 49ers.
No.
But that was so the one thing that they have going for themselves is the Niners seem to have a huge problem with bootleg passes. The Ravens crushed them on that earlier in the year. The Browns kept them off tilt with that. And so when the Ravens went and did it, the Packers were like, oh, we're just going to do rollouts and play action, and dude's going to be wide open because they're so aggressive and fast, they bite down, and then dudes are left running wide open. So the Lions golf can do that. Like I said, I just mentioned those wide receivers are really fast, they're speedy, they've got tight ends. They could do that. All America goes train. All America wants the 49ers to lose, but we do know about all the hidden pre-sequitur requisites and how they're going to be in the Super Bowl. But please, Lions, do it for America. What was the best game you saw this weekend, Harry?
Best game just in.
Yeah, this is the best football game, the divisional round.
I mean,
were you one of the 50 million people that jumped out of a window like Jason Kelce?
No, I mean, I wanted the Bills to win that game. I mean, ultimately, that game was not. I think it gets a little bit overshadowed by the recent matchups that they had in the playoffs that were incredible and a little bit better than this and a little bit less chokish, you know. But again, the whole situation, the Bills wide right. I mean, that is just like a bizarre and just I'm so sorry for Buffalo and they have to deal with that. I mean, we know misery here, but that is just like a cruel situation they have to deal with again. And it makes it seem like they must have had, someone calling him in on the field, just like make sure you miss this wide right just to keep the script going with the Chiefs and all that stuff. But it was bizarre but a good game up until that, right? And I almost can't believe that the play before they kicked the field goal, Josh Allen had that guy wide open for a touchdown. He's a huge guy getting bumped a little bit, couldn't finish that throw. It was just kind of like it's sad at this point. And I really would hope that one day they kind of get a chance, but not at our expense, obviously. That was the Birds' expense, but that was a great game. And, I think the storylines are just, again, with that too good to not talk about.
So before I hop in on, I'm gonna let Jason get in there. Jason has an actual it's a 4x6 bruise across his back. The lady in his life is a Buffalo Bill lifer, and
she is.
I saw a video of Jason going through a table. I'm not saying he cried, but I'm saying
watching her pain at the end of the game just brought back the pain that we know all too well as Philadelphia fans. Like, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry that we watched that. That just wasn't fun. I thought the best game of the weekend was San Fran Green Bay. That game was fun. Looked like Green Bay was balling. Love looked like he emerged into a superstar quarterback out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, that one ball got tipped and his confidence went to hell, and he couldn't complete a pass after that.
Yeah, and so just to finish up on the Bills now, talking about the Packers, I said before the game, if you don't beat Patrick Mahomes, you never will. And so the topic of discussion is, well, Josh Allen's window closed. And everybody's like, that's crazy. Would you think that, John Elway's window's closed? And they start bringing up all these quarterbacks. I'm like, but Josh Allen runs like LeBron James and he's getting hit by multiple people. Like when you project to me and say, well, you think he can't get there in 10 years? I don't think he's going to be playing football in 10 years. I watched what happened to Cam Newton, who was doing.
Like Cam.
Yeah. Yes, he runs like Cam. I watched what happened to Cam Newton when you hit that cliff and you hit that wall. The drop off is steep, especially playing in cold weather places, bro. And on top of that, he came out in the draft class with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. And Lamar, he's got to deal with Lamar. He's got to deal with Burrow. He's got to deal with Mahomes. He's got to deal with, I don't know if Tua is even a threat really, but he's got to deal with Herbert. Like your whole Stroud is here. Like your whole life right now, bro, is in the rearview mirror. You missed a golden opportunity, your first at-home game. And the last thing I'll say about it is the biggest thing I hate in football is the quarterback throws a ball over somebody's head and the cornerbacks are like,
I love it.
It's the funniest thing though. It's the funniest
thing. So that's the thing I hate the most. The thing I hate next most is when the wide receiver throws his hands up when a quarterback misses him.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs has thrown his hands up. He's had his brother tweet at this man about getting him the ball. He's disrespected this man in real life, in the game, social media, and by family members. And you drop that fucking ball.
The bomb.
You
oh my God.
That ball. Oh. Ain't no my bad. Ain't no on me enough in the world. You know what you do? From now on, you go out, you run a route, He go my bad even if he throws a bad throw. I don't care if it's 30 feet over your head. I want wide receivers to go my bad, because when you drop that ball, A.J. Brown, that had me lose that game and not get my second seed to have my team go into a funk, I'm upset with you when you're yelling at my quarterback going crazy. Am I flashing back? Why am I talking about this? Anyway, the Packers, man, that was Harry.
You're right, though.
That was a good game, Harry. You know what I mean? Why do you throw the ball across your body thinking you're Brett Favre on 1st and 10 with 3 minutes to go and 2 timeouts? Harry, why would you do it?
Brett Favre would throw a pick too, probably in that situation. So it's,
they got a video of Brett Favre throwing that exact same pass in a playoff game with the exact same result.
Yep.
Literally verbatim, like you're looking in the Matrix. He did the exact same thing and it resulted in an interception, because you generally don't throw against your body across the field, downfield. Not only are you throwing it 40 yards downfield, but you're throwing it 30 yards across. You just throw a 100-yard pass thinking that your guy's going to get it. You're not Michael Vick. Michael Vick's the only person I know that could do that. Maybe CJ Stroud now, because he's out there whizzing.
Joe Flacco?
Oh, Flacco, yeah. Oh,
maybe.
Stafford. Yeah. Shut up, guys. I'm trying to make a point. When I make my point, I bring up things that are supposed to be correct.
Still a bad throw.
Don't correct.
Yeah, horrible throw.
CJ Stroud, he is coming. He's the young Warren Moon. I believe in him. I like him a lot. They could not muster up a touchdown because the Ravens defense is legit. If you want to think of any kind of stats on why I'm telling you they're going to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, they're number one and everything. Points scored on defense, points allowed, most turnovers, most points off of turnovers. Like, they're everything. And they're the first team to do all that and have a all-pro quarterback since 1996. And I think that was Brett Favre's year that he won the Super Bowl. So they got everything going in their direction of what they need to do to make it there. But CJ Stroud is coming. DeMarco did a great job coaching that team and flipping that team around. But I'll say this before I ask you guys about it. Lovie Smith could have won like 9 games last year, and he screwed them at the end because he knew they weren't going to keep him.
But he did.
Well, he tried to screw him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he did screw him a little bit because they had to flip and do stuff so they gave him stuff. But I'm saying he was in a tight game with us last year. He was in so many close games that they lost late. So I don't really feel like, oh, they went from 4 wins to 11 wins. Dude, that team last year had bones. And with a good coach, they turned it around.
By the way, I'd be interested to see how Stroud does if their O coordinator gets a head coaching job and they have to replace him. Because we know in Philly, that's a recipe for disaster and regression.
Harry, what do you guys say about that?
I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think that's, we look at guys like Brady, guys like Mahomes, to come into the NFL with the cohesion and, coaching like Andy Reid and Belichick, and kind of just stability in that sense, and, schemes and coordinators that you trust. I mean, that like sets you up for kind of that run you want to be on for your entire career. And Stroud is doing that. I mean, when you start a career like this, that's how you can kind of elevate yourself kind of quickly into these. What is his potential? How high can his ceiling be in terms of his career? And you're talking about the bones of the team and the coaching staff with D'Amico and the OC right now. It's just, I think that's a scary situation, and that's how it goes in the NFL these days. I mean, there's so many guys getting fired quickly, and the urge to get new guys in there, new innovative minds. I feel like it's hard to imagine that a guy this young could have this level of success in the season, and the OC is not going to get poached. And so it's kind of sad to see. But I think that is a concern, and it probably could happen. So
you can't turn down. It's also funny that so many openings are still available, and none of these coaches have moved. So that does show that these guys are still in the playoffs, or people that are looking at like the Lions OC and stuff like that. But just, I know you guys want to be head coaches. Just stay where you're at for like an extra year. Go try and actually get a ring. Yeah, he did. Right. Well, he just threw out a crazy number. He's like, look, if you're going to give me $1 billion, I'll go. But otherwise, I'm not going to do it. So I understand that.
Also, real quick, those guys shouldn't be allowed to interview for jobs during the playoffs either. That's
totally agree.
It's a distraction.
So if you are a head coach, it's the same thing about
Jonathan
college.
Gannon.
Yep. Yeah, Jonathan Gannon. NFL coaches should not be interviewed until after the Super Bowl. They shouldn't be on a list. Going there pregame, postgame, none of that stuff should happen until after Super Bowl. So everybody's on the same accord. Mm-hmm. And the only way around it is if you're interviewing a college coach. But any coach that's currently in the NFL, you shouldn't be able to try and hire them or interview them until after
the Super Bowl. Monday after the Super Bowl, interview should start for everybody.
Yep, and that's how it should be. that being said, also just a thought that burned into my brain real quick. I love college sports. So Saban retired, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have that on our list to talk about today, but Saban retired. He is now officially a billionaire. He bought 7 new car dealerships. He's not coming back. I don't care what nobody says. He's not going to retire and then come back in a year.
No way.
He is done. He is set up for life. It's over for him and it's over for you. If you're a roll tider, I don't give a piss. I know, but it's done. The thing that kills me the most about that is all these older white guys, I'm just going to put it on them because I didn't hear too many African Americans complain about it. The NIL deals messed up everything and the portal is killing us and it doesn't make any sense. I can't believe these kids have control over their own lives and I can't manipulate their mother in their living room telling them I'm going to give them a future until I cut them and take their scholarship away and send them off and go find another job in JUCO somewhere they go play somewhere because they can't play with me in Alabama. But I can't believe these guys ain't got respect. They don't have a loyalty to come and play for me. That comes includes. These kids don't have loyalty. You don't have loyalty to 80% of these kids. You will drop them at the side of a hat. And now you're mad because these kids have options of their own. Please shut up. Because when Saban left, another coach who just recruited a whole bunch of kids and told them he was going to be there for their future, didn't even say goodbye, left in the middle of the night, got on a plane and went and touched hands with crazy people through barbed wire fences. These people lined up to touch this man's fingers. He's put his hand in barbed wire fences.
Oh my God.
Left all them kids alone. And then guess what? Those kids got a coach that left another program and came to take that job that he had just gotten the year before, promising parents that I'm here for the community and I'm going to build. So shut up and let the portal be the portal and the NIL be the NIL. Get this money. If you can't hang, then go ahead and get another job somewhere else and let the cash up again. I apologize for ranting.
It's good, right?
I agree. I mean,
you know,
I
my
agree.
favorite Saban stat to go off all that?
What's that?
That if you stayed there for 4 years, you won a championship. His entire time there, if you were there for 4 years, you got a ring.
That's a good stat.
Like
that's a good stat.
That's a good one.
That's how often he won.
Oh, that's
Like-
that's the YouTube clip. That's a YouTube clip.
Yeah.
Go right into that statement.
Oh man.
That's the clip. That was a winner.
That's a good statement. So back to football. We talked about the Packers. We talked about the Chiefs. Talked about the Texans. Did we talk about the Detroit Lions? Really?
No,
Baker Mayfield was balling.
Yeah, he was.
I see, because I'm petty. I'm like Joel. I'm really petty. I'm a bitch sometimes online. I like to go on the internet. I put in hashtag Browns, and I'm watching all the Browns hashtags and all their tweets. I can't believe Baker Mayfield's out here winning playoff games, and we only won one. And guess who won our playoff game? Baker Mayfield, and we let him go. We paid $300 million for a massage therapist junkie, and I'm like, yo, the internet. They were killing him in Cleveland. They were killing him. And then you know what happened? Grand opening, grand closing. He threw that pig late. See? That's why we got That's why I never believed in Baker Mayfield.
He called it.
He was going to do it to us. He was so close, and then he let him down because that's Baker Mayfield. That's what he's going to do to you. I'm like, yo, the internet is a cold world, guys. The internet is a cold world. What do you think about that game, Harry?
I mean, I think I expected that to be ultimately what happens. I mean, Baker Mayfield is, his potential, I think, in the NFL is, his ceiling, I'm going to say, is what I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the quarterback that went to Harvard? The big beard. Yeah, exactly. Fitzmagic. That's his ceiling, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick is this journeyman who had some elite years, but always at the end of the day kind of ruined it for you with a late game pick or something like that. I think that's Baker's, again, his ceiling, and that's what we saw this year in the playoffs was him kind of doing stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not surprised. And ultimately, I didn't want them to win, so I'm happy too. I'm happy the Lions are in there. I'm happy there. The vibes are good. Dan Campbell's a crazy man who's hilarious to watch, but also gives you that kind of emotional, just like passion and drive for the team. And Goff has the chip on his shoulder, and he's had a goofy career as well. So, I mean, I'm excited for the Lions, and I'm excited that they won. So, Baker, that's what we're gonna see, and that's what I expected, at best. So I'm glad he at least had a little glimpse of something good because it could have been worse, but. He's probably going to stick with that team for a little while and then go somewhere else and do something similar. I mean, that's what we've seen so far.
Yeah, he got a little check. What do you think about the game, Jason?
So I was watching the game, but then for like the first 2.5, maybe almost 3/4, I was like just not into the game. Like it was kind of boring. Like stuff wasn't happening. All of a sudden you look up and you're like, what the hell is going on in this game? This is a good ass game that I haven't been paying attention to.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, same thing. I saw Gibbs rips off that run that was amazing right up the middle, and he just killed Winfield Jr. with the little cutback and just took it to the house.
They were destroying the blitz, and they were destroying them up the middle. And again, that's when Eagles fans are calling the radio talking about, why can't we handle the blitz like that? Why can't Jalen throw across the middle?
Right.
And it's just soul crushing. So I'd say two things to wrap up what you guys said. One, again, good for Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield with his dances. I like
his commercials.
Oh, I miss his commercials. DJ caught that ball and then threw it in his lap. It's like, here, bitch. I laughed because I'm like, yeah, he made that statement talking about the third quarterback, how he watched film on him. He's like, he must be watching film in the preseason. He's like, yeah, I'm watching all the film, preseason film. That's how you know I know. And I was like, oh, that's some gangster stuff right there when you threw the ball back. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, Baker, but it had to be you. But it felt good for a minute. And Goff is out there dealing. Let's not forget this guy went to a Super Bowl. He gets so, whenever you hear that question, is your quarterback being disrespected or is your quarterback being undervalued? That is Jared Goff. I don't know what he did besides get drafted with Carson Wentz to be so disrespected. This man went to a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl. He got the Detroit Lions winning games. And if kneecap biter wasn't such a crazy, I'm going to prove it, guy, they'd probably be like 19-0 every year. But he gets that old River Ron gambling crap at the end, biting kneecaps, and it messes them up because they always lose by 3. But I'm happy for the Lions. Man alive, they deserve it. Those fans deserve it. And Jason had a great stat. Did you know that the Detroit Lions have been to a conference championship game in the 21st century, and the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders have not? How embarrassing is that? You let the Lions have a chance to go to a Super Bowl before you, Jerry Jones. Oh, we the boys.
We the boys.
Here. We gonna do it. Here we go. Last thing about the games, the fumble out of the back of the end zone. Jason, what's your cap on that? What do you thought? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that rule right now is how it should stay. You shouldn't benefit if you fumble it out of the end zone. That's your fault for reaching and having the ball knocked out. You should be penalized harshly for doing something like that near the end zone. So it should go to the other team, and they should get it out by the 20.
Harry, you think same thing?
Yeah, I mean, exactly like Jason said, the situation that happens in is always them extending to try to get that little extra inch to, exploit the rule that it just needs to break the field, break the line, right? Touch the pylon. It doesn't need to do anything else. So they're already trying to get, game the situation anyway in most of those situations. So I think the rules should stand. And also we look at it again, it's like when it doesn't benefit the Chiefs, that's kind of another fishy situation, scripty situation we're talking about because it happens to them. And now we're talking about changing the rules. So I mean, I think it should stay the way it is, but we'll see what happens since the Chiefs are the ones who kind of are the ones who experienced it.
I don't want the rule changed at all. There's already so many things benefiting the offense, and I'm like, oh, so you want to fumble it out of bounds and get it back at the 20? No, hold on to the ball, right? And that's the end of the issue. But they're probably going to change it because something happens when the Chiefs and the Bills play a game. Somebody cries a lot, and then things change. The overtime rule changed, which we thought wasn't going to change, and that happened strictly because of that game. So, last thing I'll say about that game, Jason Kelce jumping out the window with his shirt off. He said it was hot up in the booth anyway. He was out there for Bills Mafia. He drank out of the bowling ball from one of the Buffalo Bills guys who's a legend who does shots in the tailgates out of a bowling ball. I mean, the guy was just out there having fun, living his best life. And let me tell you something that I can't stand in life, okay? I don't have a problem with Taylor Swift. It's me. Hi, the problem is me. And I get that. I love all the jams. I get it. 1989, 1970, whatever year it was, you had to wreck another man's life and relationship and put it on wax. That's great. I don't have no problem with that. You know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with 32-yard touchdown to Travis Kelce in 3, 2, 1.
Cut to Taylor. And
Patrick Mahomes' doofy wife, who looked like a fucking loser, who only hung out with Pat Mahomes' loser brother before this. Now she's hanging out with Taylor Swift and on every time somebody scores a touchdown. And I'm like, you know what? I'd like to see the dance celebration in the end zone by Travis White, Chocolate Kelce, who out there shaking his butt all the time, doing the robot moves and in the heart stuff. But I don't get to see that. I don't get to see when Pacheco got the angry feet and he going out out there. He's doing the gritty. You know why? Because every time we score a touchdown, I got to look up at her doofy face, screaming with her red lipstick on, and their mom up there mad as hell that they got to stand next to these two doofus children when she used to get on the spotlight and shine for her commercials. I just hate that they got to pan to her after every touchdown. I get it. She's there. I want to see my dances and my celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want. Pan to her during halftime. I don't know. Can't stand.
Just cut it down a little bit, a couple times, you know? Like
again, how about you watch the whole play roll out, watch the celebration, and then pan her. You
replay it.
You got to produce or replay her excitement.
Yep.
When you're going to break, I don't need
slow
to
mo
see
it.
Watch the celebration on the field. That's the only thing about that kills her. I'm not trying to get rid of Taylor Swift or the Swifties, even though I think it's corrupt and it's the gambling and the everything is messing up the game and the fraudulent stuff.
Taylor Swift versus Eminem in Vegas at the Super Bowl. Is that what you're saying?
What?
Is that what you're saying?
That would be amazing. Don't tell the NFL that. They would book that in a heartbeat.
I think they know.
Well, I don't know. They don't care. You think Roger Goodell's watching our show? Roger.
So, take it back. Nothing is scripted.
Roger, come on the show. Call in, Roger. Call in, Roger.
So the last thing is Joel Embiid. Do you guys know he had 70 points?
Did he?
He did.
Oh man,
58%.
That sounds good.
Thinking about it.
58% shooting. 1 for 2 from 3. That's 50%.
Here's a good question for you up here.
For some people that don't know.
What?
Oh, Steve Fox. Is Kelce coming back? I'll let you guys go first. Jason, is Kelce coming back?
I don't think so. But he sure is stuck with the decision. But I think ultimately he decides not to come back.
Harry, is Kelce coming back?
I think he is going to come back, and that's a little bit conditional. But I think with BG, kind of vocalizing he wants to come back no matter what, essentially for his like kind of swan song last run. If we can get Fletcher on some sort of situation, Lane said he's coming back for 3 or 4 more years. So that's kind of like his last few years, right? So if we get someone like Ron Rivera too to get Kelce a little bit inspired, then I think he is going to come back. So again, we get somebody that's lame duck and Nick's kind of just whatever guy, and Howie's ruining it with the roster again and not getting linebackers and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I do feel like he's got 1 more year left in him. He's too good. First team all pro. I mean, like he's literally at the peak of his powers still. So I agree with Steve. I think it does the vibes, especially kind of coming out almost right away and, shutting down the rumors about him retiring as well. Just being like, yo, he didn't even say like, I'm going to make an announcement, this time next week. It's just, I think he's basically stuck with that he wants to come back and he feels good and he's going to do it again with his guys, his vets. So one more year.
So before I answer this question in a fabulous way, I think we're either losing or about to lose everybody that's on IG. So make sure you hop over to YouTube, Black Gritty on YouTube, or at Odoctor on Twitter. Just go subscribe to YouTube so that way you can watch the whole show live, or you can just go there and watch the rest of the show that you're about to miss because Instagram cuts off after an hour. So we miss you, love you, bye. But you're going to miss this awesome answer, which is I tweeted out something, and the first reply I got was, "Shut your mouth, you bald fat bitch." And I was like, whoa, sir. Whoa, sir.
I was angry.
I went, you're right. Okay, KD, with your burner account. Another thing you could go. You get caught with burner accounts too much. Hey, but I went and looked. I was like, you are following me, sir. Why are you so aggressive? All I said was, I want Jason Kelce to retire. I want him to stay at home and go on to the next part of his life. I watched the documentary, which made everybody cry. I'm a grown man. I can admit that I cried. I cried, and I cried in part when I watched the man take the trash cans out, and he could barely walk because he wasn't getting shot at with his anti-inflammatories when he's at home in the offseason. And he struggles to move around, and his wife the pain in her face, talking about him making it up the stairs and playing with his children. It broke my heart. He has a son now on the way. Go home. Stop tush pushing and putting your brain at risk. It's over. I appreciate you for your service. You won a Super Bowl. You gave the greatest speech and parade history of any sport. Of any sport, you gave the best speech of all time. You serviced us well. Thank you for that service. And please retire. I don't want you to come back. I don't want him to come back.
He still looked athletic jumping back up into that suite.
Shut up.
We got some hops.
I said that too. I was like, yo, and somebody's like, it's a 3-foot drop. Calm down.
No, it's not.
I'm like, first of all, it's like 6 feet because
Yeah.
he's standing next to it. He had to climb back in the window.
Right.
Second of all, the whole stadium is full with snow, and I don't care how much they cleaned it out. You think there wasn't snow on that ground? He's jumping into the
there's
ball pit of snow.
There's an angle of him when he landed, when he jumped out, his feet slid, but he's just so good with his balance and his core strength that he just corrected it on ice.
Yeah.
I would have went down hard. I'd have broke another tooth. It'd have been a whole ass mess.
I believe I could fly. I believe in Jay's cousin. So I have no problem with him, whether he stays or he goes. But I wish him nothing but the best. He's got media training. He's got media skills. He's got other things that he could do, and he's never leaving Philadelphia. He's going to be here. So the only thing I can say is I don't know if Cam Jurgens is ready to take his place yet. I know he helped draft him or whatever, but I don't know.
Gets hurt too much.
So that's the only issue about having him come back. But I think that's it. Anybody else got anything to say about the awesome stuff that went on in the world?
No, we're good. NFL script. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's
Joel Embiid, baby, MVP.
And the crazy part is that they put that stupid rule in this year,
so he's not going to.
So he's not going to get it.
I think he is, man. He looks like he's in incredible shape. I mean, I
He's
don't
already
want him to
missed
force
so many
it, but I think he
he's
will.
already missed so many games.
I think he has like 8 or 9 more. I think he can miss. So I think that's
it's not even All-Star
He
break
usually
yet.
misses a week after the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Well, the majority of the games are played before, though, so a little bit.
I mean, all those things are true. I want him to get it. I want him to have it.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, he's getting that scoring title this year. Nobody's touching that. So he's got the scoring title in the bag. So, I think that's it. So show notes and links and everything is in the bios and then the things wherever you're watching. If you're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, just subscribe, tell a friend, lie to them, tell them this is a great show and they should check it out. And maybe they'll get hooked on Phonics. I don't know. Send it to somebody. I appreciate you. Harry and Jason, I have their stuff and you can follow them on the internet and listen to the random stuff that they're talking about. And we are out.